In Act 3, the entire geography of Cymbeline shifts dramatically toward Milford Haven in Wales. Now, in the Elizabethan imagination, Wales was viewed as a brutal, untamed country. But in the realm of romance, it functions as a pure pastoral space, far away from the flattery and backstabbing of the court. Today, we're looking at how Shakespeare uses this wild setting to map out an early version of the noble savage, showing us how a rugged land inherently preserves royal blood.
Imogen forever a kind of patient Griselda, as Chaucer would say, that is wifely devotion, thinks no ill at all of Posthumus, and of course her innocence, like sort of Cordelia in King Lear or Marina in Pericles, is never tarnished. And we get this, theme now of Milford Haven in Wales, right? So a new location is added. Wales is often the site, if you've read Thomas Malory and of the Arthurian stories, of places where Lancelot and Guinevere go. I don't know if that's specific, but there's Wales is often a place, Perceval in Chrétien's version of 1181 AD was raised in Wales because it's considered to be a more brutal and sort of savage country, as it were. Savage, obviously, with scare quotes around it, in the kind of aesthetic, right? Percival is raised in the Welsh forest, and he's simple. And we're going to meet people who are raised in Wales, but they have kingly blood, and they have this Rousseau-esque kind of quality of Iron John about them, right? They've been far away from the court and the obsequies of flattery and all of that stuff. They're raised sort of salt of the earth.
Whether it's Wordsworth's child playing on the shore or Shakespeare's lost princess saluting the sun in a Welsh cave, literature loves the idea that society corrupts us and nature restores us. This structural shift changes the entire trajectory of the play. If you're enjoying this deep dive into Shakespearean stage geography, subscribe to the channel and let's move out of the woods and back into the text.
But, we have this sort of scene of Belarius, unrealistically, like he would really, salute the sun every morning and praise the country life if they were actually living in the country. Well, who cares? I mean, it's a beautiful scene, right? And the boys are, they think that Belarius is their father. Of course, he's not, but they have royal blood in them, and all of this information is given to us in this scene. But they also have, and so their royalty is also in their virtuousness and purity and innocence, but also sort of inherent nobility of thought. This is, again, a very, very common conceit in the Romance and basically in all of Herodotus and the Greek romance and things like that, that of children, royal children, taken away by birth, raised among the poorer folk, but show their royalty, essentially. Like, there's a story in Herodotus of Darius, who's like one of his sons was taken away, and he's sort of raised by peasants in the town, but when they're playing a game, he shows his royalty and gets himself in trouble, and then the adopted father is sort of like, oh, I knew this would happen. His royal blood is showing through. Well, that's very much what's happening here. We have all these pastoral metaphors like haply this life is best, if quiet life be best, sweeter to you, which of course many, Shakespeare himself, one has the sense that, the life of, always obsequiously fawning after James the First or Queen Elizabeth and all of the intrigues of the court, Shakespeare was very sort of cynical of. But also, yeah, it's like, it's getting away to the country where I really belong, where my blood lies. W.B. Yeats's Lake at Innisfree, that kind of stuff. Rousseau's noble savage, as it were. It's society that corrupts us from our innocence, right? Later on, the Romantics, in Wordsworth, for example, will talk about children playing on the shore as an image of God's divinity in the child, right? There's two distinct models, you could say, if you want to, make it black and white. There's an Enlightenment model in which you're born into sin, like Augustine's Confessions, original sin, and then you slowly, through the process of education, come into knowledge, into nobility, or knowledge of God. And then there's the other sort of quasi-romantic model, Rousseau, Shakespeare, which is that we're born blissfully happy and close to God, and it's the structures of society that essentially pervert us. Foucault will go even further with this.